of the most ambitious projects of the Narendra Modi government has been the Digital India campaign, and of course a part of that also includes the national optic fiber network needed to really serve as the big broadband, allowing of course to have broadband in every village. And joining us is Telecom Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, speaking to ET now. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time. So firstly, a question on the national optic fiber network. It has already begun. We are seeing that in certain villages it is going live. How soon do you think this can be taken up on a pan-India basis?
First of all, you must understand one thing. It is a mission mode program of the new government. Shri Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, announced it on the 15th of August. And yes, we have a very hard timeline. More than 7 lakh kilometer of fiber, 10 lakh kilometer of fiber was laid down in 30 years. We proposed to establish 7 lakh in 3 years. Right. 250,000 gram panchayat in coming 3 years. The whole idea is to bridge the divide between digital have and digital have nots. I have already stated India is sitting at the cusp of a big digital revolution. Right. We have got 90 crore mobile phone, 300 crore internet by the last year end. And this great IT enabled services, soft power and software power both, all this has created the ecosystem for India to become digital. That is what Digital India is about. Right. National Optical Fiber Network is a very game changing exercise. Right. Once we establish National Optical Fiber Network, I am quite sure e-health, e-education and e-commerce is going to explode. And electronic manufacturing in a big way. Right. All this would create a big architecture whereby India would be more empowered, Indians will be more digitally literate, and India will become a great country.
Right. So NOFN serves as the backbone, so to say, of this entire vision. Help us understand what is the kind of outlay that will be required, and any timelines. You mentioned 3 years, but anything more specific that you could share with us?
There can be a little plus minus here, which is quite natural. But the PM is very clear and I am very clear we have to follow the timeline. About 1 lakh crore plus is the larger investment architecture which we are thinking about. It is basically an amalgamation of a lot of existing programs as well. But it is just an enabling platform. Once this National Optical Fiber Network
is in place,
a lot of other services would ride. I see a lot of common service centers coming about to deliver digital services. And one thing which I am very excited about is the policy which I am going to finalize very soon of BPOs in small and I can say semi-urban areas, semi-rural areas. And once a BPO comes, it is a statement of empowerment. A lot of ancillary services will come about. Therefore, I see these, and let me tell you, my understanding of India and Indians is, you give an enabling atmosphere, they create architecture for themselves.
Policy decisions are being taken as far as electronic manufacturing is concerned. Sir, what do you think going forward, what are the kind of investments that India can expect as far as electronic manufacturing is concerned? And any specific names that you can share with us in terms of big players looking to invest?
There are a lot of names. It will not be fair for me to share any particular name. Okay, some like Ericsson, I straight away come to my mind, which is almost finalized. We have already received proposal worth nearly 19,000 crores. About 4 to 5,000 crores we have already approved. First, you must understand the foundation for it. We have got import of electronics goods worth $100 billion every year. Right. From set-top box to LED lights to smart card to SIM card to television to all the gadgets, medical electronics, defense electronics. These are of already, one is full FDI, one is 49%. Now, if this happens, this Make in India program has come from there. When the PM says, when I say Make in India, it is also a signal for foreign countries. Come, establish base in India, manufacturing base, make in India for Indians, get all the benefit of an Indian company and also export outside. Okay. That's what we are thinking about.
So you mentioned 19,000 crores. Any other big names?
19,000 crores.
Right, sir. 19,000 crores. Any big names that you can share with us, and how soon do you think that investments
I went to
will
Germany.
come in? Right.
I met people in Samsung. They had come again to India to meet me. Right. I met people in LG and others. Right. Nadella had come to India and they are thinking in a very big way of Wi-Fi connectivity from the balanced airwaves available of the analog technology. Cisco people had come. This LED lights, you know that. We are promoting conversion of LED lights in a very big way in all the municipalities of India because they are energy conserver. It will not be fair for me to take one name, single others out. A very exciting atmosphere is there. The process has started in a very significant way. I see deluge very soon.
Okay, so we leave it at that. You see deluge very soon. So one question really one wonders is that what do you think is the big reason as to the cabinet and the government has gone ahead and hiked reserve prices across the board quite significantly from what the TRAI had recommended?
That is a business call.
Right.
Telecom Commission is a very expert body where finance secretary sits, other secretaries sit, our people sit, and they have taken a call based upon market viability, growth of telecom sector and other facilities available. You know what is our principle of spectrum allocation? First of all, it is an yearly exercise.
Right.
It is not a one-time exercise. This time a lot of licenses are going to expire after 20 years completion. My focus was basically threefold. A, to make adequate quantum of spectrum available.
Right.
And it is the biggest quantity of spectrum being put on auction in one particular year.
Right, that's correct. Yes.
There was a lot of problems within Defence Ministry and the Telecom Ministry.
That has been sorted.
Lingering for the last 8 years. And what is the decision? 5 megahertz 21 band has been become neatly available. And 45 days time frame is there to identify the defence band for swapping purposes. Once the swapping takes place between telecom and the defence bands, other will also become available for further auction. And thirdly, improve operational efficiency of existing operators and others, and consumer satisfaction.
So how soon do you think the next round of auction pertaining to 2100 megahertz can take place, given that the swapping agreement is being finalized?
Well, swapping agreement in principle has been finalized. The actual swapping for which you can know the exact quantity available, you must understand that. Many of our bands are in defence, defence bands is in R.
Right.
This swapping is a technical exercise. Once the band demarcation is done, it will also be done. I hope to do it very quickly. But let me tell you, what was pending for 8 years between defence and telecom has been resolved. That is also an indication of decision making process of our government. And we wish to carry it forward.
So can we expect another round of auctions for 2100 megahertz, maybe let's say in the next 6 months? If
it will not be proper for me to give a timeline.
Okay.
I can only tell you, once spectrum auction is an annual exercise, whenever adequate spectrum becomes available, creating the conditions for a fresh auction, I am quite open about it. And let me assure all the operators in the country that this government takes fair, transparent decision making process. Legacy problem I know, but they are things of the past. I am open, I am accessible. For me, the mantra is very clear, which is the instruction to all my officers. Growth of telecom sector and consumer satisfaction. These are the twin mantras.
So prices are very high. Don't you think there is a consumer angle to it as well? Because companies, of course, will have a hike in tariff as well as the natural reaction to high spectrum acquisition cost.
I think this logic is current in all the auctions, not only this auction. I have seen the papers. But what is a matter of assurance for me is the huge 1 billion plus market horizon of India is a big incentive where all the players can survive, and I think they are doing quite well. There I differ with you. Banking is an issue, it has to be resolved.
Right.
But I see a great, let me ask you a question. This whole digital India, will it not give a fillip to mobile connectivity more? This whole Jan Dhan Yojana becoming a big success, will it not also expand the contours of mobile connectivity and also use the data exchange, the resultant rates they will get? Therefore, a lot of additionalities are going to be provided in the process. The whole IT connectivity and telecom connectivity become more expanded.
So the idea is to give a fillip to investment for the sector, but don't you think that investment sort of gets curtailed or limited if, let's say, immediate requirement of funds becomes very, very huge as far as the sector is concerned? Don't you think that affects the investment climate from a larger perspective?
Let me tell you, it is after all a business decision which a particular operator has to take. But after all, these decisions, commercial in nature, are not taken in a vacuum. Don't you think there is a huge market in India still untapped?
Right.
for expansion of mobile telephony. I know that. It is there. And today, mobile is not a status symbol. Let me ask you a counter question in reply to your first query. The smartphone has got the biggest consumption in India after America. Why it is happening?
Right.
But people are enjoying it.
Absolutely.
They know its worth.
Yeah.
Therefore, once an operator understands the need and the commercial requirement of the consumers of India, its operation is bound to be viable if it is operationally competent.
Right. But sir, would you be okay with a hike in tariffs if
That is a very speculative question. I don't wish to reply. Okay? I don't think there is going to be any hike. The huge consumer base of India is the biggest bulwark against that.
The regulator had mentioned that more spectrum, at least in the 900 megahertz, should definitely be put up for auction. What was the rationale behind the decision?
Well, it will not be fair for me to make any comment on the regulator. Okay?
Right.
You must understand.
Right.
Being an independent body, autonomous body, it is entitled to my respect. But it gives a recommendations. The Telecom Commission considers it. Whether the need for reconsideration, that is also a requirement in law. It has to be done. For instance, in 2100 megahertz, it is given a recommendation. It is gone for reconsideration.
Right.
Because if the Telecom Commission differs, it is under a legal obligation to seek a reconsideration from the TRAI. That legal architecture cannot be bypassed.
Right.
And once that comes, it comes to me, it goes to the cabinet and decision is taken. Therefore, a lot of stages of filtration and monitoring is there.
So why does that one get the feeling that the regulator and the government at large seem to be at two ends as far as some crucial decisions are concerned? Given that the industry is so fractious, do you think that they should be at two ends as far as such crucial decisions are concerned?
First of all, it will not be fair on your part to make a comment that a telecom ministry and the regulator are having a tango relationship. No, they are not. Okay? But some kind of disagreement is inevitable. What is wrong with that? And if there is a disagreement, it must be respected, and there is a proper legal mechanism available to resolve that. So therefore, allow it to happen. If the regulator and the government start speaking the same voice again and again,
that you think is a bigger problem for the industry.
Yes.
Okay. So you wouldn't say that the regulators' views are at any point of time more lopsided.
Respect for the institution of TRAI, they are doing a good job, and let us work together with occasional differences with a mechanism for resolution.
So speaking of the auctions that are slated now for in a month's time, what are your estimates in terms of what do you think the government does stand to gain in terms of actual revenues that will come?
It will not be fair on my part as a Minister Telecom to make a guess. 64,000 crore plus has been done as the reserve price, and once the 2100 megawatt 5 megahertz also comes about after TRAI reconsideration, that will also be added. I can only say I am quite excited. The government will make a modestly and reasonably good earning. The operators will get reasonably good quantity of spectrum in a fair manner, and the consumer will become the ultimate beneficiary because of operational efficiency. That's how I see it.
So you mentioned...
But my take was, the legacies of the past should not cloud the present process.
Right.
And that I have tried to ensure.
Right.
Fair, transparent manner. Cabinet taking a fair decision. No group of ministers is there to create problems. The entire cabinet, headed by the Prime Minister, has taken a collective call.
So you mentioned about the overall proceeds to be a modest proceeds, but sir, do you think revenue maximization can be the sole objective?
I think I have already replied
when,
that.
Auctions
it
are to be
cannot be
conducted?
the only, but it is an objective. Why
Right.
not? What is wrong with that?
Right.
The government is parting with its sovereign asset. World over there is a trend. But it must be used not only for revenue maximization, but also for creating of good services, operational efficiency. That is the point.
Then why not auction more spectrum, at least in the 900
I
megahertz
think
band?
I have already replied that. Let us not make this interview spectrum centric, okay?
So the cabinet also seems to be of the view, or at least top government functionaries are of the view that maybe the sector should be also explored as far as more levies are concerned for spectrum user charges. Again, sir, do you think the timing is correct given that there is a lot of fund requirement for the sector? Is it fair to actually impose more levies at this point of time?
It will not be fair for me to make any conclusive view. I have seen some news media report about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
Right.
Well, let me tell you, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is a big national campaign. It is basically an investment for better India, you know. And if India becomes clean, more hygienic, it is also good for business. But what manner of levy will be there or not be there, it will not be for me to make any judgment on that.
It's a very expensive auction for the industry. There seems to be a concern amongst the investor community that this sector seems to be getting a lot of focus as far as the government is concerned when it wants to fix its fiscal math.
No,
so isn't that a genuine concern of the investor community?
After all, then the same logic applies to service tax. The same applies to income tax. I think the companies will be happiest if the corporate tax is abolished altogether, isn't it? Should we do that? Come on. You go with the world experience. Spectrum, being the wealth of the sovereign power of any country, has always been used by that, always in terms of revenue or in terms of infrastructure investment or like that. Therefore, India cannot be completely away from that ecosystem. But what is important is the process must be fair. That is important. And the process must create enabling atmosphere for growth for the sector and also for the consumer. Both have to be seen.
So speaking of fair process, there seems to be some controversy around the slots that were vacant or being made vacant for 2100 megahertz and a final decision that was taken by the government. So would you like to address this controversy as to why was there some kind of a difference of opinion from the defense ministry or from the government?
Let me tell you, there has been no problem.
Okay.
The government has been very clear, and I wish to thank Mr. Manohar Parrikar, my good friend, defense minister. He was very forthright. Defense, you must understand the historical context. Defense ministry has been the custodian of spectrum always. Before this mobile phone came, you did not need spectrum for landline, did you? You did not. You need the connectivity for that.
Right.
Now, they also need for country's security and strategic purposes, but we also need for growth. 5 megahertz in 2100 band has been released. Other is the question of swapping, the details part, as I spoke earlier.
Right.
Once that happens, the balance would become available. Therefore, there is no controversy. Yes, a lot of a controversy in pink papers. Okay, no problem. I take it cool. India is a free country. They have got the right to write.
Important policy decisions that have been in the pipeline, sir. So don't you think the sector is ripe for consolidation and maybe an M&A policy that enables consolidation should be in place?
I quite see that point. I have already told the secretary, a committee is in place. They are heading all the grievances. Whatever is further needed to beef up the guidelines, etc., shall be done. But let me tell you, acquisition, merger, etc., must be left to the wisdom of the market forces and the companies. The government should not be seen to be forcing it. Yes, if there is any problem, roadblocks in that process, we need to address that. Therefore, I have asked the committee led by the secretary to hear them. If need be, come with a fresh guideline.
How soon can we have a fresh guideline, sir, for M&A?
I cannot make any judgment. They are in the process of hearing that. Let me first complete the spectrum auction process also. If I do that only and don't concentrate on this, then you'll ask me counter questions. Okay? So let this 1 month till February process be over. That is also there. Spectrum sharing, spectrum trading, all these guidelines are in the process of being finalized. They will go to the TRAI, the Telecom Commission, they will also come. Therefore, fair auction, trading, sharing guideline of spectrum, M&A, all these are there to create the enabling atmosphere for further growth.
Right. But sir, sharing and trading guidelines will come after the auctions have been conducted, sir? Or do you think it's fair to have them before so that strategies can be in place?
There are two views about it, but I am more on the logistic part of it.
Right, okay.
Because it has to go to the TRAI, come to the Telecom Commission, before the fine print is there. I cannot bypass that. If I do, you will again start speaking against me. Won't you?
But sir, there seems to be some view that if it does come ahead of the auction...
There are views for both. Okay?
Okay.
But my take is, February auction is not the last auction India is having.
Right.
Okay?
Right. We can expect one sometime during the year as well, right, sir, for 2100
It's an yearly exercise, you know it very well.
So one question one wants to ask as far as BSNL MTNL is concerned, there has been a lot of talk of merger. In fact, some positive moves were being made as well as far as the merger is concerned. But again, it is back to cold storage.
First of all, let me say something about these two bodies. These two bodies were making huge profit hardly 6-7 years ago.
Right.
Why they came down? These reasons are required to be understood very clearly. And I am not holding any brief for their lack of competence or efficiency. But there has been attempt to ensure that they become paralyzed. Let me ask you a question.
So vested interests are at play.
Let me ask you a question. The same thing, 6th phase of their expansion was deliberately delayed and I would say killed in a manner which I can only call shameful.
Right.
And the mandarins sitting in these buildings were equally responsible. Beyond that, don't ask me questions.
Right.
But they need to improve. They need to further improve their performance. And I'm monitoring it. I'm very keen to restore their health. But as far as the merger is concerned, and it's showing results also, okay? But as far as the merger is concerned, if two bodies are sick, if you merge the two, the sickness becomes amplified.
Right.
Leave a call to be taken by me at the appropriate time. As of now, I am trying to ensure that the health of both these bodies, otherwise good company with good people, must be restored. Right. I don't hold any brief for them. Also, they have made mistakes in the past.
True.
The kind of operational efficiency, attention and other performance yardsticks required, they did not fulfill.
Right. So, sir, you would look at capacity expansion because we know how the expansion was curtailed.
Yes, seventh phase they are doing in a big way, BSNL. Okay. The question of tower hiving is there, other things are there, looking into it to make them commercially more viable. But I think once the seventh phase become operational, BSNL will do exceedingly well. It is a big base in India, pan-India. Right. They are executing no fun in a big way. Right. Therefore, BSNL has good people. I always take the case of postal reform.
Right.
I am so excited to share with you the Department of Post has earned 280 crore plus from e-commerce. Right. We have got 1,50,000 post offices all over the country. We can leverage that. The task force report has come. Right. Therefore, the entire from IT to
so
Telecom
on
to
that
Postal,
task force report itself, it has in fact suggested some big measures like e-commerce. Can we expect some big changes?
We had a long presentation with the Prime Minister.
Can we expect some big changes on the postal department?
I am quite excited and hopeful about it. I am awaiting for the final view to be taken. It has consultation with other ministries to be taken, like Ministry of Finance. 1,50,000 post offices all around the country. Can we allow common service center also to run from branch post offices for e-commerce, for e-health, for electronic delivery of services, for other connectivity? I think if you think in a comprehensive whole, postal, IT, telecommunication, there was a rationale as to why they have been kept under one ministry. They're working in silos. I think Digital India is a big enabling platform to bring them together.
Bring them all together. Yes. So just one quick point before we wrap this up. You mentioned that decisions on postal will be taken fairly shortly. Can we expect a postal bank to actually
that is also a suggestion.
Take shape? Can we expect
it to take shape? As of now, we have a postal saving banks already.
Right. Yes.
Deposit of 6 lakh crore.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now the whole thing is to make it more as a commercial bank. Because what is the plus point for this? Lending for poor people is not available. Okay. Let me take the case of postal insurance. We only take from government employee. Right. Is there a proper scheme for accident cover available for rural people? Their hand gets chopped off when they are doing the machine for cutting the grains. Okay. Accident from tractor, from truck and buses, rural areas. They have no third party coverage at all. United Insurance or General Insurance don't have pan-India presence in the rural areas. Right. How can we leverage postal insurance for those purposes? I have myself flagged that. I am following it in a very serious manner.
So you would ask for some budgetary allocation in this budget for...
budgetary allocation more, not that area of priority. What is important to leverage the network all over the country to do? After all, there is a postal insurance already, isn't it?
Right.
To expand it further by giving them due regulatory permissions. This IT, the kind of services we have launched after we came to power, this digital attendance doing so well, you know that. Aadhaar cards have become 70 crore plus in a fair manner. This Jivan Pramanam, you used to certify you are alive in November every year at great difficulty to elderly people. That portal has come about. How digital technology can be used for common good. Right. We are looking in a very big way. Right. So from electronic manufacturing to turnaround of BSNL, MTNL, to Digital India, to optical, to postal. I think my department
360 degrees revamp.
I think my department is a happening place, isn't it?
Absolutely, sir.
I need your good wishes.
Absolutely, sir. We wrap this up. Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.